I'm Jim Mondry. I'm a business coach, and this is my second video in the series on creating effective sales funnels. Today, we're looking at the psychology of effective sales funnels. And I want to begin with a quote from John E. Kennedy. He said, "Advertising is salesmanship in print." Now, what is this all about? This is about creating a sales conversation with your ideal clients. Because a sales funnel is essentially a journey that you're walking someone through to ask them, do you want to buy from me? There are two things that you've got to start your sales funnel with, because if you do not start your sales funnel with this, people aren't even going to want to enter in. So the first thing is, what are the outcomes that people are going to get from buying from your product or service? And so the sales funnel has to begin with telling the story of what are you going to get from working with me? Because once people start to understand, oh, I'm going to get that, they're likely to want to enter into the conversation. So your sales conversations always have to start with what is the outcome that your customer wants in their life? Because if you don't start the funnel with that, no one's going to enter into it. Now, once you get people into the funnel, there's a framework that I like to work with, and that's people will only buy from those that they know, like, and trust. This is helpful as a framework because you've got to think about, is each piece of content helping people get to know you a little bit better? Is it creating trust with you? And do people like actually consuming your content and or working with you? So there are three things to think about, one for each of these elements. First off, do they know who you actually are? What's your expertise? And what kind of person are you? Do they feel like they could walk up to you and have a coffee with you or have a beer with you or just have a conversation with you? And then with like, this is about your style, but really at the end of the day, it's about how you make them feel. People are going to buy from someone that they feel good being around. If your content is making them feel kind of uncomfortable, they're not going to want to buy from you. But what's most important is for you to be authentic, because then the people who get you are going to want to buy from you. And then the people who don't get you aren't going to want to buy from you. And that's okay. We're not trying to sell to every person, no matter what, unless you're trying to create another Walmart. And then if that's the case, then this series is not worth your time. But if you are running a small or medium-sized business, then you have ideal customers and not ideal customers. So you just want to think about, what do I want my people to feel when connecting with me and engaging with me? Then finally, trust. Are you honest? Are you competent? Do you actually have the capability to deliver what you are promising with your product? When you make sure that you have those types of questions in mind when you create each of the pieces of content in your sales funnel, it leads to better conversations, which will keep the right people moving through wanting to buy from you. And those that aren't interested, they're going to want to check out, and that's good. So this all comes down to, there are essentially 4 pieces of content that you need to be considering within your sales funnel. So in your content funnel, you have to start with helping people understand, what are they buying? Again, we're not talking about what is the product or service. What is the outcome that they're actually buying? People don't buy coaching, they buy the outcome of that. People don't buy therapy, they buy recovery from anxiety or depression or whatever mental illness they're struggling with. So you have to have a clear understanding of what is the outcome that people are buying. And your first piece of content needs to clearly show that. Don't just talk about it, actually show the outcome. And then the second thing, it's about demonstrating how you've helped others with this. So this type of content is creating your authority as a guide to help others. And so there are 2 aspects to that. There's empathy, where you understand what the other person is feeling and going through, because we're far more likely to buy from someone who actually has that empathy towards what we're working through. And the second thing on top of empathy is authority. You need to demonstrate that you actually know how to help someone overcome these challenges and help someone actually create the outcome that you're promising. So you got to demonstrate that. So you typically demonstrations are really great to either have customer testimonials, or you can use client success stories, but you can also share stories from your own life of how you've overcome this as well. This is harder when you're still starting out and you've got kind of a new business and you're still validating if your product is right or not. So understand that if you are creating your first sales funnel for your first project, you may not be able to do the second piece yet, and that's okay because you're going to get there. So then the third thing that I think is really important in a sales funnel that I don't see talked about much is give an experience of working with you. A sales funnel is about helping people understand, is your product or service the thing that's going to get them the outcome that they want? And by giving them an experience and giving, so not having a low cost test, no, actually having like a little 5-day email series or like 3 videos that they can try or whatever for free, people are going to have a better understanding of, do they like you? Do they trust you? Are they enjoying what you're creating? So that then in the future, when you do make the ask, they understand what they're getting. So I think it's really important in any sales funnel for it to be effective. There has to be some sort of experience that you're giving people. And finally, the fourth important piece of content, you have to have something where you're clearly asking for the sale. If you do not have that, people are not going to intuit to buy from you. So yes, you probably are asking for the sale at multiple points, but you need to have something really explicit to say, hey, now's the time. You got to make the decision, either work with me or, the series is going to be done, and that's okay. So you've got to have that. So unfortunately, it's not as simple as creating just 4 pieces of content. Current research on trust is kind of vague, but you need to have everything from potentially 5 pieces of content to build that know, like, and trust, all the way I've seen some say up to 15 different interactions before someone is going to be ready to buy from you. So recognize that where you are putting your sales funnel in your business model is going to change how long you need to make it. If you are trying to reach people who've never heard from you before, then you're going to need to spend more time on the demonstration and experience. Whereas if you are reaching out to people who've already worked with you on something, then you don't have to spend as much time on the demonstrate and experience part because they already know, like, and trust and believe in you. So this is something that you need to consider is, what is the nature of the relationship I've already got with my customer? Final piece of advice to think about: the psychology of designing your sales funnel. People don't want to watch your stuff. They want to get the outcome of your product. Unless you're a really comedic writer or just absolutely a brilliant thinker, people want the outcome of your product. So you need to make sure that you ask for every piece of content that you put in your sales funnel, what is someone getting out of it? Because if you do not have something for them to get out of it, a new lesson to learn, a new experiment to try, a new experience that they can create for themselves, or just they felt good and they've had a good laugh and enjoyed watching it, if you do not design something consciously in there, you're withdrawing from that trust account, which is going to make it harder to make the ask. So a sales funnel is salesmanship in print. You are walking people through the decision-making process to buy it or not. And you need to make sure you are building that know, like, and trust account with every piece of content. And you need to hit these 4 things. You need to show what they're getting after working with you. You need to demonstrate why you're the right person. You need to give them an experience, and you need to make the ask. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, please comment down below. I would be so happy to answer them. If you want to like this video or subscribe, that's great too. So thank you so much. To the next video I'm going to create in this series, I'm going to be actually breaking down a couple sales funnels that I've been through to give you some demonstrations on how some do well and some fail. So thanks for watching, and I hope this is helpful.